When he finally reaches out, whether it's after a long silence, a sudden reappearance, or even a first-time message, your response holds more power than you realize. This is the moment that can set you up for a path of clarity or a cycle of confusion. The power of first impressions cannot be underestimated, especially when it comes to relationships. The way you respond when he contacts you lays the foundation for everything that follows. It's not just about what you say, but also about the energy and confidence you project. Too often, people make the mistake of responding from a place of excitement or desperation rather than wisdom and discernment. When someone you're interested in reaches out, it can feel like a moment of validation, as if their message confirms your worth. But your worth was never dependent on their attention in the first place. That's why your response should come from a place of self-assurance, not urgency. In the Bible, we are said to guard our hearts because everything we do flows from it. This means we must be intentional about how we allow someone to enter our space. A quick or overly enthusiastic response can sometimes send the wrong signal, that you are too eager, too available, or worse, that you have been waiting on them to give you direction. But a confident person moves with purpose, not impulse. If you respond too quickly without taking a moment to assess the situation, you risk setting a precedent that you are always on standby, ready to fit into someone else's plans. Instead, take a moment. Ask yourself, what does his message truly say? Is it intentional, thoughtful, or just casual? Is it leading somewhere? Or is it simply a way to test the waters? The Bible teaches that a tree is known by its fruit. This means that words alone do not reveal a person's intentions, only consistent actions do. When he reaches out, don't be swayed by charming words or surface-level effort. Pay attention to the pattern. Someone who genuinely values you will not only contact you, but will also be clear in their intentions and consistent in their actions. Many people fear that delaying a response or not showing immediate enthusiasm will push someone away. But the truth is, the right person won't be discouraged by your confidence. They will be drawn to it. Someone with serious intentions won't be looking for an easy catch. They'll be looking for someone who knows their worth. When Esther was being prepared for her position as queen, she didn't rush to present herself in any way that would please others. She moved with wisdom, knowing that true favor comes when you walk in your value rather than chase approval. The same principle applies here. How you handle his first contact speaks volumes about the standard you set for yourself and for him. So before you respond, pause, ask yourself if your reply aligns with the kind of relationship you truly desire. You don't have to ignore him, but you also don't have to jump at the first opportunity. Move with purpose, because the first impression you give will set the tone for how he approaches you from that moment forward. Emotional reactivity is one of the biggest mistakes people make when someone they are interested in reaches out. It's natural to feel excitement, anxiety, or even a sense of relief when you see their name appear on your phone, but how you handle that initial emotion determines the direction of what happens next. The difference between a wise response and an impulsive reaction can mean the difference between building something meaningful and sabotaging a potential connection. Many allow their emotions to take control, responding too quickly, over-explaining, or trying too hard to impress. This often stems from fear. The fear of losing an opportunity, the fear of being forgotten, or the fear that if they don't respond in a certain way, they won't be chosen. But fear should never be the foundation of any interaction. In the Bible, we are said that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. This means we are called to respond from a place of strength and wisdom, not anxiety or insecurity. When you react emotionally, you give away your power. If his message is casual or vague, and you respond with over-the-top excitement, long paragraphs, or immediate availability, it sends the message that your emotions are easily swayed by his actions. But when you pause, assess, and respond with balance, it shows that you are in control of your emotions and not led by fleeting feeling. The Bible teaches that wisdom is more precious than rubies, and when we act with wisdom instead of impulse, we align ourselves with the best possible outcome. Some make the mistake of using their response as a test, overcompensating by playing hard to get or using sarcasm to mask their true feelings. But true strength isn't in games, it's in security. If you're interested, There's nothing wrong with showing it. But showing interest and being emotionally reactive are not the same thing. One is rooted in confidence, the other is rooted in fear of loss. A wise person discerns whether his message is worth an investment of energy. Are his words matching his actions? Is his effort consistent? The Bible says that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, meaning that inconsistency is a red flag, not a mystery to solve. Patience is a virtue that many overlook in modern dating. In the Bible, we are said to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. This is not just about conflict, it's about how we handle all communication. Slowing down before responding allows clarity to rise above emotion. It gives you space to assess the situation, align your response with your values, and ensure that you are moving with purpose. Instead of reacting out of excitement, worry, or pressure, take a breath, take a moment, and let your response be guided by wisdom rather than emotion. The balance between interest and mystery is one of the most important yet misunderstood aspects of communication when someone reaches out. Many people make the mistake of leaning too far in one direction, either showing too much interest too soon or withdrawing completely in an attempt to appear indifferent. Neither extreme creates a healthy foundation. Instead, the key is to engage in a way that is warm and inviting while still allowing space for curiosity to grow. When someone reaches out, it is natural to want to express excitement, especially if you have been hoping for this moment, but pouring out too much too soon can overwhelm the situation. In the Bible, we are said that there is a time to speak and a time to be silent, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. This wisdom applies deeply to relationships. Interest should be expressed, but it should also be measured. When you give away everything at once, your full attention, your emotions, your availability, it removes the natural intrigue that makes connection unfold in a meaningful way. On the other hand, some believe that creating mystery means being cold, distant, or difficult to reach. But withholding affection or being intentionally unresponsive does not build attraction, it builds walls. True mystery is not about creating confusion, but about allowing room for discovery. It is about showing enough of yourself to engage, while still allowing the other person to invest effort in getting to know you. In the Bible, we are said that wisdom is found in moderation, and this applies to how we communicate as well. Being too much or too little of anything can throw things off balance. When you respond with confidence, warmth, and restraint, you create an atmosphere where mutual effort is required. If you give everything without requiring anything in return, you end up carrying the weight of the interaction alone. But when you allow things to unfold naturally, you invite the other person to participate in the process of building connection. The Bible says that where your treasure is, there your heart will be also, meaning that people value what they invest in. If someone is truly interested, they will take steps toward you, not just stand at a distance waiting for you to do all the work. It is important to let the other person reveal their intentions over time rather than assuming them based on one message or one moment. The Bible teaches that by their fruits you will recognize them, meaning that consistent actions tell you far more than a single conversation ever could. Instead of rushing to define the situation based on an initial interaction, allow things to unfold naturally. Show interest without forcing the outcome. Give space without creating unnecessary distance. Let curiosity build, because the right connection will not need to be chased. It will naturally grow when both people are engaged in the process of discovering one another. Your value is non-negotiable, and the way you respond when he contacts you should reflect that truth. Too often, people place their worth in someone else's interest, thinking that their validation comes from being chosen. But real confidence is knowing that you are already valuable, whether someone reaches out or not. When you fully embrace that, your response will come from a place of self-assurance rather than desperation. It is easy to fall into the trap of thinking that his message is a sign that you must now prove yourself worthy of his attention. This leads to over-explaining, overcompensating, and over-giving. In the Bible, we are said that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, which means that your worth has already been established by God, not by any man's acknowledgement. When you respond from a place of knowing your value, you do not feel the need to chase, beg, or convince someone of your worth. Instead, you stand firm, allowing only those who recognize and respect it to come closer. Many make the mistake of adapting too quickly to fit into someone else's world. The moment he shows interest, they shift their schedule, change their priorities, and adjust their energy just to keep his attention. But in the Bible, we are said that we are not to conform, but to be transformed by renewing our minds. This means you should never lose yourself in an attempt to keep someone else. If someone is meant for you, they will value you as you are, not as a version of yourself that you shrink into just to maintain their interest. The way you carry yourself in the first conversation sets the tone for how you will be treated moving forward. If you accept inconsistency, mixed signals, or bare minimum effort at the start, it teaches the other person that they do not have to put in real effort to keep you. In the Bible, we are said that bad company corrupts good character, which means that if you allow someone with weak intentions to lead the interaction, it will eventually shape the way you see yourself. But when you uphold a standard, it sends a clear message. If he wants access to your time and energy, he must come with clarity, consistency, and respect. A person who truly values you will not make you question where you stand. They will not send vague messages just to keep you on the hook or come and go as they please. In the Bible, we are said that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, meaning that instability should not be mistaken for mystery or excitement. It is a warning sign, not an invitation. When you believe in your own worth, you do not entertain anything that feels uncertain, inconsistent, or half-hearted. You make it clear through your actions, your words, and your response that your value is not up for negotiation. Don't fall for breadcrumbs, because the way someone communicates with you reveals their true intentions. When he contacts you, it is easy to get caught up in the excitement of hearing from him, especially if you have been waiting for his attention. But not every message is meaningful, and not every effort is genuine pursuit. Sometimes a message is just a way to keep you within reach without any real intention of building something lasting. Breadcrumbs are the small, inconsistent efforts someone makes to maintain your interest without putting in real commitment. A vague, "Hey, how have you been?" after weeks of silence. A late-night message with no follow-up, or a casual check-in without any plans to see you. These are not signs of pursuit, they are signs of convenience. In the Bible, we are said that a person's words should be trustworthy, and their yes should mean yes while their no means no. Anything less than clarity is a distraction, not devotion. If his words and actions do not align, then he is not truly seeking you, he is simply keeping you available as an option. It is tempting to rationalize small efforts, to believe that a simple message is proof that he still cares. But a person who truly values you does not drop breadcrumbs. They build a path toward you with consistency and intention. In the Bible, we are said that wisdom is proven right by its actions, meaning that what someone does consistently speaks louder than what they say occasionally. If his contact is sporadic, non-committal, or feels like a way to stir your emotions rather than build a relationship, then it is not pursuit. It is a distraction. Many fall into the trap of giving too much meaning to the smallest gestures, hoping that if they just respond the right way or prove their worth, he will suddenly invest more. But in the Bible, we are said that we should not cast our pearls before swine, which means that your time, energy, and love should not be wasted on someone who does not value them. If you keep feeding into breadcrumb behavior, you send the message that minimal effort is enough to keep you engaged. A person who is truly interested in you will not give you fragments of attention. They will give you consistency, effort, and clear intentions. The truth is, people make time for what they truly want. When someone is serious, their actions will reflect that. They will not be content with just keeping in touch occasionally. They will pursue you in a way that leaves no room for doubt. In the Bible, we are said that a tree is known by its fruit, meaning that what someone produces over time reveals their true character. If all he offers are breadcrumbs, then the fruit of his actions is emptiness. But when someone truly values you, they will show it, not just with words, but with consistent actions that align with genuine commitment. Patience over panic is one of the greatest lessons in relationships, yet it is often the hardest to practice. When he contacts you, your first instinct may be to react quickly, to analyze every word, to wonder what it means, and to fear that if you don't respond in the perfect way, you might lose the opportunity. But rushing out of fear never leads to something real. It is patience that allows things to unfold naturally and gives you the wisdom to see what is truly there. In moments like these, it is easy to let emotions take control. The excitement of hearing from him, the anxiety of not knowing his true intentions, or the fear of missing out can create a sense of urgency that leads to impulsive decisions. But in the Bible, we are said to be still and know that God is in control. Acting from a place of stillness rather than panic ensures that your response is guided by wisdom rather than insecurity. When you pause before reacting, you give yourself space to evaluate whether this communication aligns with what you truly want. Many rush into responding because they believe that waiting too long will make him lose interest. But the truth is, the right person will not be deterred by patience. They will be drawn to it. In the Bible, we are said that those who trust in the Lord will renew their strength, meaning that waiting is not weakness, it is power. Patience reveals confidence. It shows that you are not desperate for attention, but are willing to wait for something meaningful. It communicates that you value yourself enough to respond with intention rather than impulse. Panic leads people to accept less than they deserve. It makes them settle for unclear intentions, inconsistent effort, and half-hearted gestures, just because they fear that if they do not hold on to what is being offered, they might end up alone. But in the Bible, we are said that God does not give a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. When you act from a place of sound judgment rather than fear, you recognize that you do not need to grasp at someone's attention. What is meant for you will not pass you by, and what is not meant for you will never stay, no matter how much you chase it. It is in patience that true intentions are revealed. If his contact is genuine, time will prove it. If his effort is real, consistency will show it. When you allow things to unfold naturally, you give yourself the gift of clarity. In the Bible, we are said that a wise person builds their house on solid ground, not shifting sand. Acting out of panic creates instability, but moving with patience ensures that you are building something real. The right connection will not require you to rush, to force, or to operate in fear. It will align naturally with peace, clarity, and purpose. Boundaries are the foundation of any healthy relationship, and the way you respond when he contacts you should reflect the standards you have set for yourself. Too often, people let excitement override their boundaries, saying yes too quickly, ignoring red flags, or making themselves too available simply because they don't want to miss an opportunity. But boundaries are not about pushing people away. They are about protecting your heart and making sure that only those who truly respect you have access to your time and energy. In the Bible, we are said to guard our hearts because everything we do flows from it. This means that the way you allow someone to interact with you will set the tone for how they continue treating you. If you respond to inconsistency with immediate availability, you send the message that effort is not required to earn your time. If you allow unclear or vague communication to continue without addressing it, you create an environment where guessing games replace honesty and clarity. But when you establish boundaries from the beginning, you create space for something real to grow. Many people fear that setting boundaries will push someone away, but the truth is, the right person will not be scared off by standards. They will respect them. In the Bible, we are said that iron sharpens iron, meaning that strong connections are built on mutual respect and shared values. If someone disappears because you hold them to a higher standard, that means they were never willing to meet it in the first place. A person who genuinely wants to build something meaningful will not be offended by the fact that you expect intentionality, consistency, and respect in your interactions. Boundaries also mean knowing when to say no. If his message comes at a time that is inconvenient, if it lacks real effort, or if it feels like a mere check-in rather than an actual step forward, you have the right to pause before responding, or to not respond at all. In the Bible, we are said that all things are permissible, but not all things are beneficial, which means that just because someone reaches out does not mean you have to entertain them. Not every message deserves a reply, and not every person who expresses interest deserves access to your time. When you uphold your boundaries, you teach others how to treat you. If you respond with patience rather than urgency, with confidence rather than desperation, and with discernment rather than emotional impulse, you create an environment where only those who are truly invested will remain. In the Bible, we are said that a person who is faithful with little will be faithful with much, meaning that the way someone handles small things, like the first conversation, reveals how they will handle bigger things, like commitment. The way you respond now is not just about this one interaction, it is about setting the tone for the kind of relationship you are willing to accept.